Hey everybody, today is June 27th, 2023, and today we're going to talk about the price of Bitcoin. We had this massive rally off the range low of 25,000, and now the question is, are we going to hold this level? Or is this just a temporary rally that will continue down lower? Before we begin, please read the disclaimer and you can pause the video as you read it. Okay, first of all, I just want to apologize for not making a video last week. It was a long weekend, and I had family members over, and I sort of lost track of time, so I apologize for that. But we're here back again. I did do a chart last Thursday, and talked about, so I've been waiting for 25,000 basically since, let's see how long I've been waiting. Right, 25,000, slow and steady, 25,000. So basically for at least a month, I've been waiting for 25,000, right? For over a month, and finally we hit 25,000. In my last video, I said I had some buy orders around 25,000, so I'm happy to announce that those orders got filled. So I pretty much caught the bottom last time. So I was super happy. But yeah, I had family members last week, so I didn't do a video. I was just very busy keeping them busy, and while they were here. But anyways, we had a spectacular rally off of two major catalysts, right? First was last Monday. We had the BlackRock group. They were filing for a spot Bitcoin ETF, which of course all spot Bitcoin ETFs have been rejected up to this point. We only have futures ETFs that have been approved. But the point of this is that BlackRock, they usually don't get rejected, right? They have a high success rate of having ETFs approved. So people are speculating that this might be the time that we actually get approved. But of course, it hasn't been approved yet, so a lot of this is still speculation. Bitcoin in the past has, not only risen but also peaked during times where we've had ETF expectations, right? Let me get a cleaner chart. Like in 2017, we had the first Bitcoin futures ETF, which started trading in December, and that was the top. Then we had the futures, not the futures ETF, the actual CME futures, the futures contracts in December 2017, and that was the top. The futures backed ETF was in 2021, right? I believe it was October 2021, and the market peaked in November, and then Bitcoin started crashing. So, if the ETF is approved, could that also mark a temporary top? I mean, this isn't like a parabolic top, like a market cycle top, right? We're still, clawing our way out of a bear market. We're not in a bear market anymore because we're making higher lows and higher highs, but we're still technically not in like a bull market, right? Especially not, let alone like a parabolic bull market that like we've seen in 2017 and 2021, right? So there's still a lot of unknowns. We obviously have not had official approval yet, so we still have to wait on that. The other news is that there's a new exchange that is allowing institutions, it's just for institutions, not retailers, but the institutions can basically trade Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, and Bitcoin Cash, right? So everything, all four of those numbers have been doing very well, while other altcoins have been bleeding. Especially Bitcoin Cash is up, I believe it's up like 100% in 1 week, right? Which is really spectacular, right? But yeah, Bitcoin, off those two major catalysts, basically went from 25,000, my target level, right? This was a tweet last week, last Thursday, and on my Twitter page, EddieLux_. Like I said, I have been waiting for 25K for a while, right? Still see 25K, target level of 25K, and then we finally hit 25K, and then we ripped up to 30,000 off those two major catalysts, right? Massive move up. This is very bullish, right? What I was expecting was, I was expecting us to like peak somewhere, bottom somewhere around the 200-day, right? And then spike up. But we didn't reach that. We got the news and we basically just ripped up higher. Thankfully, this actually went down to 25,000, actually slightly below 25,000. But like I said in my last video, from 2 weeks ago, I had a couple orders, right? Across crypto and also Bitcoin miners that were around that level. So those got filled, so I'm really happy because I pretty much caught the bottom of this move. And then we had a nice rally higher. So the question is, are we going to hold this level? Or is this just a temporary, another bull market rally, as people say, before this comes down lower, right? Now, to answer that question, we have to look at the bigger picture. Why is 30,000 such a strong resistance level? Because in the previous bull market, right, 30,000 was strong support, right? We had the first major pullback in the beginning of 2021 after this spectacular rally from like 10,000 all the way to like 40,000. Then we pulled back and we held 30,000 and we went up higher. And then on the China exodus, right, banning of miners, we plunged but we held 30,000, and from there we sprung up right on the on the backs of the futures-backed ETF news, right? Like that we just talked about earlier. And but unfortunately, the third time we came down to retest in early 2022. May 2022. This is when the Federal Reserve was fighting inflation by raising interest rates. So the stock market and the Bitcoin crypto markets, anything that was risk-on speculative in nature, basically tanked, and we didn't hold 30,000. And from there, we basically plunged another 50%, basically down to like 15,000, right? But for now, it does seem like 15,000 is the bottom. This is the FTX crash right here, and from there, since January of this year, we've just had a nice rally, basically 3 stages, right? 3 waves. The first impulse move, and then a pullback on the regional bank crisis in March, and another impulse move higher, and then we had a longer consolidation, which I thought, like I said, that we would come down here and retest the 200-day like we did back here in March. But of course, those 2 news, right, the potential spot ETF, BlackRock, spot Bitcoin ETF approval impending, but also the institutional exchange, right? And so we had a nice rally. Now, the key level to watch is 30,000, right? We want to hold 30,000 for those same reasons I just showed you, that in the previous bull market, 30,000 was strong support. And usually when we go under that support level, that previous support level becomes resistance, right? So 30,000 is resistance. You can see that when we hit 30,000 previously in April this year, we couldn't break through, and we basically had been consolidating and bleeding downwards, lower highs and lower lows for basically 2 months now, right? So now off those 2 fundamental news, we basically have a nice rally up to 30,000. Now the question is, are we going to hold? And I think this is very crucial, right? Because 30,000, and also this, which also coincidentally happens to be this Fibonacci level, right? You see the Fibonacci levels, support and resistance levels, are generally very strong levels. Look at how beautiful this access, the Fibonacci level access support, excuse me, over here, and when we have resistance, strong resistance, and now we're trying to flip this resistance to support, right? So what we want to look for is we want to look for the price of Bitcoin to stay above 30,000, or basically this blue line, right? Right now, let's zoom in a little bit. Right now, you can see every time Bitcoin comes down to touch this level, the bears are trying to like attack and push the price down, right? Where the bulls are trying to defend this level. So the key level to watch is 30,000. This is probably the most important level right now, because, like I said, this is a major long-term support resistant level, right? And we're trying to flip this, what was once support is now resistance. We're trying to flip that resistance back into support. So it's going to take some time, but what we want to see is either a strong breakout to the upside or consolidation, through a correction through time, right? Where we just move sideways, hold this level, prove that the bulls can absorb supply here and then push up higher, right? Because there's a lot of supply. There's a lot of people trying to, they have a lot of sell limit orders right now, and we need to eat through those walls, those sell walls, right? Before we push up higher, right? So let's look at, right, so right now, the greed level is starting, the fear and greed level is starting to move back down. But yeah, I think that with the stock market pulling back recently, we're starting to see all the markets sort of like what was once like we had a pretty spectacular rise in the stock market, now starting to pull back. And that also brought the crypto markets down a little bit as well, even though the crypto markets didn't really participate in this rally due to, like, of course, the SEC going after Coinbase and Binance, and which I discussed in our previous videos. But now we have a chance, right? The stock market, I put out a video today, you can also watch. The stock market looks like it's trying to put in a bottom here, and in my stock market video, I explained why I believe this could possibly be the bottom, right? And if this is the bottom, if it goes up higher, then of course we know that Bitcoin, a risk-on asset, tends to follow the Nasdaq and the broader stock market, right? So if that is the case, that could actually give Bitcoin some strength to move higher. Another thing we like to look at is the dollar index, right? The dollar index generally moves inversely proportional to Bitcoin, right? When the dollar is weak, Bitcoin is strong. Right now, the dollar seems to be bleeding out, right? Where we have basically a descending triangle. Descending triangle over here with lower highs, and we've basically hit this support level 3 times now. And if this isn't able to hold, we can see the dollar just plunge down lower, right? And this is coming back off the backs of a spectacular rise that we saw in 2022 due to the raise in interest rates, right? Strengthening the dollar. And now that inflation is starting to come down, and there's expectations that the Fed has paused in the last meeting, right? But they could possibly cut in the future. So now the dollar is moving ahead of those expectations and weakening, right? Because of course the Fed not only could potentially cut rates, but they recently raised the debt ceiling, so they're printing more money, which is weakening the dollar, right? Because you print more money into existence, there's more dollars chasing fewer goods, right? Inflation, so dollar weakening, and that's going to give a more positive catalyst for Bitcoin to go up higher, right? And so let's look at some other on-chain metrics like hash rate, right? Hash rate has been coming down a little bit, probably due to the price of Bitcoin coming down over the recent past weeks, but we had this strong surge in price over the last few days, so that could possibly push the demand a lot higher for miners to come in and add to the network if they see that it's more profitable to mine Bitcoin right now, right? Another tool I like to look at is a 2-year multiplier. I find that the 2-year multiplier is generally a good long-term indicator to see where you should accumulate or start to distribute or sell Bitcoin. And if you see this chart goes back basically to Genesis, right, back in 2010. And you can see that it has a pretty good track record of signaling when the top and the bottom is, And right now, this is sort of like, this is the longest time that Bitcoin has been under this green line, which is where this chart says is a good time, generally speaking, to accumulate Bitcoin. And this has been longer than the 2015, which is basically just almost a year we were under in 2015, under this green line, right? And it looks like Bitcoin is starting to perhaps break out, get close. We're getting closer to breaking out above, and that is usually a sign of strength that the bull market is on. That once we break out of this green line, we break above the green line, it's generally a strong indicator that the bull market is confirmed and we're going to go up a lot higher. So time is running out to accumulate below this green line. And so if you're not positioned, of course, this is not financial advice. You got to make your own decision, do your own due diligence. But according to this chart, right, every time we've broken above, it tends to go up higher. So time is running out before we break above. But so this, just to put that out there. Pi cycle top indicator is a good indicator of the top. It's also a good indicator of where the bottom could be as well, right? The bottom is usually in when the price of Bitcoin goes above this orange line and it stays above, right? Every time it comes down, because in a bullish uptrend, we tend to come down and retest this orange line, right? So this is 2016, this is 2019 to 21. We came down and retest this orange line multiple times, and it seems like we are starting to. Let me just zoom in here. Seems like we've put it in the bottom here, right? And we are above the orange line now. And every time we come down to retest this orange line, we have a nice strong snap up higher. And this is usually a bullish sign, right? If we tend to lag and go down lower, then we're probably still in a bear market. But the fact that every time we hit the orange line of support, it tends to snap back higher. That's generally a good sign that we're in a strong bull market, because buyers are coming in and they're absorbing the supply, right? So right now, the short summary is this looks a lot more bullish than it was, 2 weeks ago, right? This 2 weeks ago we were seeing Bitcoin bleed, and but I was looking for 25,000 because of the 200-day moving average, right? And so I got those levels. Of course, it's not financial advice. You got to do your own due diligence and your own research, and assess your own risk tolerance and make your own trades, right? But this is just what I'm doing for your entertainment purposes, for your curiosity. Of course, don't copy my trades. Definitely have higher risk tolerance than some people. But so just to summarize, this move is very bullish for Bitcoin, but we need to hold this level. Any pullback needs to be shallow. If we have a big pullback down into this range again, it's a lot more bearish, and there's a higher probability that we'll come down even lower or stay in this range for a while, right? But if we do come down lower, we want to see 28,000 hold, which is the 100-day moving average, this gold line over here. But what we really want to see is we want to see 30,000 hold, right? We want to see this Fibonacci line hold as strong support, because of course, like I just said earlier in this video, this level at 30,000, which is Fibonacci line, right? The line that separates blue from red, this is a very strong level of support and resistance. And right now we're trying to flip this resistance into support again, right? Like we did back in 2021. And if we're able to do that, I think that Bitcoin can go up a lot higher. So that's the level to watch, is 30,000, very important level. And of course, this is going to change depending on, not the level, but the price action is going to change depending on what news comes out in the future. Like I said, a large part of this move is based off the two fundamental news, right? The BlackRock ETF, spot Bitcoin ETF, which hasn't been approved yet, right? If it's rejected, right, we can see the price plunge potentially, right? So it's still not approved yet. there's still speculation. So we still need to wait for that news, right? The second thing is, of course, the institutional exchange that is supporting Bitcoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin Cash, and Litecoin. We'll have to see how many institutions are onboarded into that and if that is actually used, right? Because there's still a lot of uncertainty in the space, right? The SEC, they're still going after Coinbase and Binance, right? Let's not forget about that. It's still ongoing. So those potential headwinds could affect the price as well, because those are the two largest exchange right now, the two most influential exchange. And if the SEC lawsuits continue to develop, we could have more potential headwinds that could put more downward pressure on the price of Bitcoin, right? So anyways, 30,000 is what I'm looking for. I'll definitely update you on Twitter. Please follow me on Twitter, EddieLux_. I post on Thursdays, and I'll try to be more consistent. Again, I had family here last week, so I didn't have time to do the video, but I'll try to be more consistent and put out another video next Tuesday, and we'll see how Bitcoin price action develops going forward. Thank you for watching this video. If you found it helpful, useful, and informative, please like this video, leave a comment below, and subscribe for updates. Appreciate all your support. Thank you again, and have a great day.